המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה מן המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה עודך כי אני תעני ותהי לי לישועה עודך כי אני תעני ותהי לי ותהי לי לישועה ענני 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 answer me ענני 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 answer me ענני 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 answer me ענני 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 מן המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה מן המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה עודך כי אני תעני ותהי לי לישועה עודך כי אני תעני ותהי לי ותהי לי לישועה ענני 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 answer me ענני 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 answer me ענני 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 answer me ענני 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 I call out to you from a narrow place. Your answer came to me from a wide open space. My heart cried out for you wherever you are. Your hand reached out to me min hametzar Aneni 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 answer me 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 Aneni 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 Aneni, 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 answer me, Aneni. מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day.
how good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
how good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day.
how good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Hine matov. How wonderful it is, we say, to be all together. But you might be saying, we're not together. We're not all in this space. But I want you to know something. Even though I'm not exactly as close to Cantor Mutlu as I usually am, or to Rabbi Rebecca Rosenthal, or to our musicians as I normally am, I feel very connected to them in this space, bringing in this new year. And you are not sitting in these pews like you normally are for Rosh Hashanah. You are safely in your homes, maybe in Manhattan, maybe out in Connecticut or somewhere farther away. Maybe you're in another country. But you're connected to all of us with an invisible string that helps us know that we are all part of one big Jewish community and family today. And we are here to celebrate the birthday of the world, and we could not do this alone. We need every one of you to help us bring in this new year and to celebrate the hope and the joy of this Rosh Hashanah. I know I need it. And to show some of the people who are here, but maybe not here physically in the building, but connected by their invisible string called the interwebs, I'd like to show you that we have some of our LCLJ educators with us today. Hello, so good to see you all. We have our director of the LCLJ, Marissa Hochberg, and some of our full-time teachers, Eve Morin, Rena Bergman, Julia Leibstein, and Aaron Solomon, some of our incredible teachers. We are so fortunate that you educate our children at Central Synagogue, and we know that you had your fingerprints on this service, and you are part of our extended family that is worshiping with us today, and it's great to see your faces. Shana Tova. Wherever you are, you can also join along with us. You can just watch on your screen, or you could also download our prayer book if you'd like. It is on our website and also on the Facebook page on Central Synagogue. We have pinned the PDF of it, so you can open it up if you'd like, and you can follow along. But this
You should make sure to download the family service Machzor, not the
that
regular
is a good
Machzor.
point, Rabbi Rosenthal. This is different than the one we mailed you if you're at Central Synagogue for the regular service, the main sanctuary service we did this morning. This is a family machzor. It is pinned on your Facebook page if you want to download it. But this service is so easy to follow along that even if you don't open the prayer book, even if you can't read yet, you can still participate just by joining in and singing. And to begin, we're going to begin with a song that you really only need one word to sing. Do you know what that word is? Can you guess?
How many syllables?
4.
4.
Do-do-do-do. I will just tell you, it is hallelujah. So with just the word hallelujah, you can help bring in the joy of this holiday. And I'm going to invite you to sing the chorus with me. And then if you want to follow the words, you can follow on page 7 in your machzor. So here how it goes. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. That's how simple it is. Try it. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We'll add the words. El Bikosho, hallelujah, Birkia Uzo, hallelujah, Big Burotav, hallelujah, Kirov Kulo, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. But take God Shofar, hallelujah, the never before, hallelujah, the tofu mahol, hallelujah, the minim, the ugad, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. B'tziltzilei Shema, hallelujah. B'tziltzilei Shua, hallelujah. B'tziltzilei Shema, hallelujah. B'tziltzilei Shua, kol hashama, kol hashama. Tehaleya, hallelujah, kol hashama. Tehaleya, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, I could feel all of you hugging your invisible string at my heart singing that one. That was so beautiful. It feels important for us to make this time that we can be with our families and our loved ones. This is a family service after all. And hopefully you're sitting with someone in your family. And I thought we could have a chance for a little reflection, because that is what this period is about reflection. So I'd like to ask you a question to ponder and contemplate and discuss. What is new in your life in the coming year? What is new and sweet in your life in the coming year? What are you looking forward to? What is something that you are excited about in this coming year? And I'm going to invite you to actually talk about it. Think about it and talk about it with whoever you are with. We'll take a few moments together. And if you would like, we invite you, if you are on Facebook Live, to type some of your answers into the box. And we would love to see what you are saying is what is exciting and sweet in the new upcoming year. So take a few moments together. So I'm wondering, what are some of the things that you thought of? I can't seem to get Facebook Live on my phone. So Rabbi Rosenthal, did you get any answers? Did you see anything wonderful from our families?
Yeah, one of our amazing educators, Jeremy Seif, said his new sweet thing is joining the Central Synagogue community,
Aw.
good health, being able to spend time with my family in New York. People are talking about our beautiful portable ark as being something
Oh,
new and
nice.
sweet for this new year.
Awesome. I'd also love to turn to the Barber Hillman family to hear their answer.
Hi, I'm Ira,
I'm Avery. I'm Elijah.
And I'm Jeremy.
and each of us is looking forward to something new in the new year. I'm excited to lead a core group at Central Synagogue for the first time.
I'm excited to meet new people in my class and be friends with them.
I'm excited to see my friends more.
And I'm excited to celebrate even more holidays remotely, including Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Hanukkah, and even Thanksgiving.
Happy New Year.
Isn't that wonderful? Well, we're going to continue our service. We're going to ask you all to rise at home if you can, and we're going to continue with our call to worship, our Baruch Hu, on page 8. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. And we're going to invite you to remain standing as we continue with the watchword of our faith, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Now, one of my favorite things during the holidays is the music. And we get this beautiful tune that is the High Holy Day tune. So we're going to sing now.
It's one of my favorite things too, Cantor.
Isn't it just? It just gets you in the mood for the holidays. No
I
matter
hear this melody
where
that
you
you're
are.
going to sing, and I'm like, oh, I know it's the holiday now.
Right, right. So we're going to sing on page 15 our Song of Freedom, Mi Chamocha, to this very tune. So join us. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, shira chadasha, shibechu geulim leshimcha, על שפת הים, יחד כולם, הודו והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Well, now it's really the high holidays, now that we've heard that
That's right.
tune. So many of you may have received in your High Holy Day box this beautiful blessing loop. And if you have it, I invite you to take it out and just play with it a little. Take a look at all the different sides. I was saying in the Tot service that this one with the stars is speaking to me at this moment. And this loop was designed really to have no beginning and no end. An echo of the cycle that we're celebrating on this holiday, and the echo of the blessings that we have for you and your family. The loop also represents the cycle of families. All of us who are parents are also someone's child. And we know that many of your children will eventually, one day, become parents yourselves, continuing the chain of love and tradition in your family. Together with the Lowy family, we are going to recite the blessing for parents and children found on page 16 in the Machzor, but will also be scrolled along the bottom of the screen. We invite you to hold this blessing loop as you read and consider the cycles of celebration, mourning, blessing, and challenge that we meet every day, every week, and every year together.
A prayer for parents and children. Sometimes I tell you to do things without explaining why.
Sometimes I do things on impulse without thinking about the consequences.
I will put away my phone when you are talking to me.
I will pay attention when you are talking to me.
I will try to let you do things your own way, as I know you often have good ideas.
I will try to listen and consider your ideas even if I strongly feel that I don't need any suggestions.
I will try to trust you more and let you be more independent.
I will try to be more trustworthy and not let you down with my decisions.
I promise to make you a priority and be on time and be present.
I promise to understand that you have responsibilities and I will be patient.
I will not demand perfection, but I will ask you to work hard and always maintain your integrity.
I will always try my best and appreciate all that I have.
Sometimes I will do things you will not understand, but I promise to try to explain them to you.
Sometimes I will do things you do not understand, but I will promise to try them and explain them to you.
I will try to lead you as a responsible individual.
I will accept what you teach me while making my own decisions.
I will try to explain my decisions even when you don't like them.
I will try to understand even when I don't like what you're saying.
I will try to set a better example of appreciating what we have.
I will try to be more grateful for what we have.
We'll take that prayer with us into our tefillah, our Amidah, on page 17, and we'll ask you again to rise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Adonai sifatai tiftach. Fi yagid tehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Anora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. למענך, למענך, למענך אלוהים חיים. למענך, למענך, למענך אלוהים חיים. Remember us unto life, O God of all, who delights in life. Melech Hozer uMoshiach uMagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah.
Amen.
We turn now to Untitled Chapter, our accounting, on page 21. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on Yom Kippur it is sealed.
Rosh Hashanah yikatevun, yikatevun, uvyom tzom kippur yechatevun, yechatevun.
Who will be excited for the day, and who will be upset? Who will want everything, and who will be overwhelmed with sadness? Who will want the world to be good, and who will want fairness? Who will start arguments, and who will be the peacemaker? Who will be fearful, and who will be lonely? Who will be afraid of change, and who will copy friends? Who will bully to have power, and who will change the world with their actions? Who will be calm when things go wrong? Who will be frightened by the difficult tasks? Who will be poor, never grateful for what they have? Who will be rich, happy with exactly what is theirs?
Teshuva utefila utzedaka mavirin et roa hagezerah.
But self-reflection, prayer, and tzedakah, they have the power to change the nature of our lives. These return us to God. May we go forth with celebration and forgiveness. May we go forth with rejoicing, forgiven for yesterday's mistakes, hopeful for tomorrow, to a year of great goodness. We take a moment now for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Useh Shalom bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We turn now to page 24. I invite everyone to please rise for our Torah service.
Mitzion tetzeh Torah, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato.
We turn now to the Avinu Mulcainu Prayer. This might be the prayer that is most particular and iconic for this Rosh Hashanah holiday. Now, we have many names for God in our tradition. They translate to things like Lord or Creator or Rock. Well, here we refer to God as Avinu, which is our parent, Mulcainu, our king. And it reminds us of this season that God is like a king who sits over us and that we are very humble before. But we never forget that God is also like a mother or a father to us. And when you think about all the ways that our parents are towards us, they can hug us, they can teach us, sometimes they have to critique us, but all of this is done out of love to help us each be our best selves. And that's the spirit of this holiday, that we turn to Avinu Mulcainu, who helps us be the best person we can be. So we now turn to the middle of 24, and we join in this important song for the holiday, Avinu Mulcainu, Shema Kolenu, Avinu Mulcainu, hear our voice.
Avinu Mulcainu, Chanenu Vanenu, Avinu Mulcainu. חוננו בנינו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו. אבינו מלכנו, חוננו ועדנו. אבינו מלכנו, חוננו ועדנו, כי אין בנו מעשים. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש ונורא שמו.
רוממו
אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו.
It's just so wonderful to be standing here on this bima this morning with our Torah out that we're going to read together with all of you. Today we read the story of Abraham and Sarah finally giving birth to a son, Isaac. The Torah says, Adonai pakad et Sarah, God took notice of Sarah. For so long, she wanted a child, and now God notices her pain and responds, and she gives birth to Isaac. Why did it take God so long? She's 90 years old, after all. Perhaps it's a message to us. When there's so much going on in the world, it can be hard to notice anything. But this last few months, as so much of the world has slowed down and contracted, there's been an opportunity to notice more. When I walk in the park, I notice the changing of the trees with the seasons. I noticed how the city emptied out and now is fuller again. I noticed the sounds of an ambulance siren that was so unending in March and April and is now thankfully so much less. I noticed who around me has lost someone and who has brought forth new life. What will you notice in the coming year? Maybe there is someone in your life who is crying out and there has been too much noise to notice their pain. In the new year, in 5781, let's commit to noticing what's happening in the world around us. Let's notice who's in pain and who is suffering. Let's hear the cries of our planet and our fellow human beings. Let's notice, and then let's work to answer that cry, just like God did for Sarah, so that in the new year, we too can experience rebirth and renewal. We're going to call now to the Torah, the Friedman family, Jonathan, Shauna, Claire, Daniel, and Ryan for an aliyah to the Torah. The Friedmans joined Central last year and have jumped into being involved with our community. In this new year, we welcome them and all of our fellow new members to Central Synagogue.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBara. Baruch Adonai HaBara Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Yotin HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vadonai pakad et tzara kasher amar vayas Adonai lesara kasher diber v'tahar vatelet tzara leAvraham ben lizkunav lamoed asher diberit oto Elohim vayikra Avraham et shem beno hanolad lo asher yada lo Sarah Yitzchak. And the blessing after Friedman family.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai Yotin HaTorah.
Amen.
Cantor Mutlu, do you think they're ready for their bar and bat mitzvah right now? The whole Friedman family?
They passed the virtual test.
That was amazing.
I have to say that Jonathan, the father in the Friedman family, I knew him from Scarsdale when he was in confirmation class. So to have him now with his children in this congregation, they're a new old family for me, and I'm so happy that they are with us at Central. Thank you for that honor.
It's one of those cycles we were talking about.
That's right, like the blessing loop.
See,
there
it all comes back to the blessing loop. So thank you, Friedman family, for that beautiful aliyah, and we're so thrilled to have honored you and all of our new members. So we're going to rise now to give honor to the Torah.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Yala lai 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 yai lai 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 ya la 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 la
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la
It's possible that rabbis aren't supposed to have a favorite part of the service, but when Bill Gord comes to tell us a story, that's really my favorite part of the service. And anyone who says, well, stories are really for kids, has never experienced the masterful storytelling of Bill Gord. So we are so thrilled to have him here today to tell us a story and help us to think through the themes of this holiday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, as all the families are, not to be in the synagogue today, but it's great to be part of this community again. And you can see I'm here with my books of folk tales. And today's story, I was reading a bunch of stories this summer to try to find a good story for today, and I was reading this book, Jewish Stories One Generation Tells Another by Penina Schramm, a wonderful book. And I found a story in there that then I started working with. And that's the story I'm going to tell right now. And it's about, well, a family, a rabbi and his wife and their son. They had their son late in life, and now he was a young man. And they weren't getting any younger, they were getting older, and they said, whoa, our son needs to get married. We'd like to see him with a life partner. It will make his life rich and a better life. Who should he marry? And the wife said, well, I think my niece will be a perfect one. And he said, well, I think my niece would be the perfect one. And she said, well, my niece would really be the perfect one for our son. And he said, well, you know, my niece would be the very perfect one for our son. They started to go back and forth, and then they thought, wait a minute, we're not getting married. It's our son who's getting married. Let's bring him into this discussion. And so they brought in their son, and they asked him, what do you think? Rebecca or Rachel? And he thought about it, and he realized each parent wanted one. And they would both be wonderful wives. And they checked with them, and both women were very interested in becoming the wife of this young man. So what do? This young man got an idea, and he said, well, I've got an idea. Mother and father, why don't you give each of them, Rebecca and Rachel, a little bag of gold and send them out? And 1 year from today, we'll all gather here and we'll see how they spent their money. We'll know a lot about them, and I'll know who I should marry. 1 year from today. And then we'll get married 2 days after that. Okay? And the parents thought that was a very good idea. So they gave Rebecca and they gave Rachel each a little bag of gold. And they set out, because they were friends, they set out together, and they traveled. And they thought, where can we find something really amazing that he's never seen before? They went to a big city, and they went around. They broke up during the day, and they'd meet again in the evening, and they kept buying more things until each, Rebecca and Rachel, had spent everything they had. Well, all the money in the bags. They each had a little spending money for food and place to stay and all. But what was given to them for these special things to decide who would get to be married to the rabbi's son? Let's go back. So Rachel and Rebecca started back, and that evening they stayed in an inn, and in the inn downstairs, they had their rooms upstairs, and downstairs was a place you could eat, and they were sitting around the table talking about what they had gotten. Each of them were very excited about what they had gotten. Well, they spoke maybe a little too loudly, because over at a nearby table, somebody was listening very closely. And that somebody was not such a nice person. And before they went up to the room, that person sneaked up to the room, was a robber, and started going through the stuff. Oh, what should I take? And then he heard Rebecca and Rachel coming up the steps. So he grabbed what he had, ran out the door, down the hall the other way, and down and out the back door. Rebecca and Rachel came into their room, and they looked, everything was thrown all over the place, and they said, oh no, a robber has taken our things, or a lot of them anyway. Well, let's see what we have. Let's see what we have left. They looked. Rebecca found this and this. Oh, good. Oh, this isn't so bad. A lot of my things are still here. How about you, Rachel? And Rachel said, the robber took everything I bought. I don't have anything at all. And Rebecca said, well, we've spent the money. We better start back home in the morning anyway. And Rachel said, well, Rebecca, you have your things, so why don't you go ahead back? I'm not ready to go back. I'm not ready to go back. I don't have anything to take back. I don't want to go back. You go back, Rebecca, and I'll be back for that time in a year. Travel safely. And so Rebecca traveled back. And she said Rachel wasn't ready to come home yet. She did not tell of the robbers or anything. She just settled into life. Rachel's family wondered about Rachel, but Rachel was smart. Rachel was kind. They figured she'd be okay, but they worried. And there was Rachel. And what did she have? Nothing. And what was she looking towards? A year. She had a year. But just that moment before, she had everything. And just like that, the whole year changed. It changed completely. And looking forward was not what she was expecting at all. What could she do? I mean, she wanted to do something, and now it was all gone, and, what's the point? And she looked, and where could she go? And she went inside herself to start. And she rested a moment, and she said, I will find what I need to do. And she went back into that city where they had bought everything, and she walked down the streets, wondering why she was walking down the streets, but what else could she do? And she saw a yeshiva, and she knew why she had walked down that street. She had not seen it before. When they were there before, she had not seen it, but she knew what it was. And she went inside, and the rabbi was teaching, and she found a seat towards the back, and her heart was filled, and her mind rested. And that day at the end, when the students all started to go home and everybody left, she waited a little bit, and she waited till everybody was gone, and she found a place back in the corner where she could sleep. And the next morning, before anybody came, she went out and bought some breakfast. And she waited till she saw some students coming back into the school. And she came in and joined them and sat down. And she listened some more. And that's what she did every night and every day. She slept in the room, and then she'd go out before anybody came and come back in. And the time went by, and the time went by, and the time went by, and the time went by. And one day, the rabbi said, you are a very good class, one of the best I have ever taught. It's time for a challenge. I'm going to read this passage from the Talmud that is very tricky, to see what you do with it. And he read, and he looked at his students, and they were shaking their heads. They did not know what it could possibly be about. And he said, anybody have an idea? Not one person made a comment. Any of you? No. Okay, I'll tell you what. You go tonight. Sometimes these things come to you. They just come to you, when you're not thinking about them. Don't think about it, and maybe you'll understand. And tomorrow, when you come back, we'll talk about it. Go. And so everybody left, and Rachel found her sleeping place. And that night, Elijah came to her. The prophet Elijah came to her and started guiding her through that passage, asking her questions, listening to her, guiding her through it. And she understood. She understood this very, very difficult passage. She understood. And in the morning, she wrote it down. And she went and she put it on the desk of the rabbi. And then she went out to get her breakfast. And she came back in after the other students, and she sat in the back where she always sat. And the rabbi came in, and he said, does anybody have an idea about the passage I read yesterday? And everybody shook their heads. Rachel did not say a word. And then the rabbi said, what's this on my desk? Let me look. Whoa. And he read. Who wrote this? And no one answered. Rachel did not say a word. Who wrote this? Let me read this to you, my students. And he read, and he said, this is the most perfect reading of this passage I've ever read. Which of you said, this is beautiful? No one said a thing. Rachel did not say a word. At the end of the day, the rabbi said, well, after that, I need to read you another passage. This one's even trickier. And once again, he read from the Talmud, and it was even trickier. And they were shaking their heads. And that evening, Elijah came to Rachel again. And they explored the passage together. And in the morning, she wrote it down and she put it on the rabbi's desk, and she went out and got her breakfast, and she followed the others in. And she sat down, and he came. What? Again? This is unbelievable. Who? Come on, who's talking? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Let me read it to you, class. And he read again. Who is it? The day went by, he read another passage. The same thing happened. Rachel wrote it down, but this time, you see, the rabbi had a side door entrance, and he wanted to see what was going on, and he peeked through a crack in that door early morning, and he saw Rachel put the paper on his desk. And then she went outside like she always did, and she came in with other students. And he came in and he picked up again. This is amazing. Who wrote this? And he read it again, and no one would answer. And he said, well, I have a confession to make. I watched through the doorway. And our friend, who has been here for days and days and days and months and months and months, her name is Rachel. She wrote this in the last 2 days. How in the world did you understand this? And she told what had happened. And she told how she slept over in the corner, and how she had grown, and how she thanked this community for welcoming her in. And the rabbi said, you are always welcome here. And after that, Elijah did not visit anymore, but it seemed that he visited everyone, because everyone seemed to know more than they had known before. That's how it seemed. And the teacher said, this is wonderful. It is so great when a teacher learns from the students. And the year was almost up, and Rachel said, I need to go home. I promised that I would go home at the end of the year with whatever I have. I've got to go back home. And so Rachel traveled back to her hometown. And there were the families gathered, just like they had planned. And there was Rebecca. She had not shown the things she had gotten. She still had them in the bag. And she was sitting and smiling. And Rachel walked in. Rachel's back! Rachel's back! Welcome, Rachel! Everybody welcomed Rachel back. And then they all gathered together, and the son of the rabbi said, well, now it's time to decide. I have not seen anything yet, and the time to decide is now. Rebecca, I know you came back a long time ago smiling. I can't wait to see what you brought back. And Rebecca stood up and brought out one thing after another, jewels, books, all kinds of things, wonderful, each one carefully picked just so. And the young man looked at Rebecca and said, those are fine, fine things. You clearly have a sense of what is important in this world. You will make a good wife, yes, you will. But I need to see. So Rachel, what have you brought back? And Rachel said, I wanted to be back today, but I didn't bring anything. You see, you don't understand what happened. Rebecca and I were, we both had bags of things, but we were robbed. And all my stuff was robbed. And luckily for Rebecca, she got those beautiful things you see right now. But I didn't have anything, so I couldn't come home. So what did you do? Well, I went into the city and I started going to the yeshiva, and it was wonderful. I thought I had a year in front of me with nothing good at all. It just seemed like everything was lost. And there, in that space, the teachers and the other students, and we read, and we prayed, and we sang, and we thought, and we talked. And it filled my heart and filled my mind. I feel so full now. But I have nothing to give to you. So blessings to you and Rebecca. You will be very happy together. And it was silent for a moment. It was silent. But then the young man said, wait a minute. I've just heard your story. And Rachel, I think you have brought back a lot more than you may think you have. A mind full of amazing ideas, a heart full of love and understanding. I can learn from you. I can learn from you. And Rebecca, with your blessing, I would like to choose Rachel, if Rachel will accept me as her husband. And that's exactly what happened. The young man and Rachel were married. And they grew in wisdom and love. And may you too.
Thank you so much, Bill, for that beautiful story and reminding us of the importance of opening our hearts to learning and Torah and love. We're going to turn now to a central part of our service, the shofar. The shofar, as you know, calls on us to wake up. And I think this year many of us feel very awake. So if you're not yet awake, use the shofar to push you out of your sleep. But if you are awake, then use the shofar to motivate you to act awake. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ask you, as you did earlier in the service, to turn to someone who might be in your house to answer the question, what are you waking up to this year? And what is your plan of action? And I'm going to ask you to discuss it for the next minute or so with whoever's in your house. If there's no one in your house, I'm going to invite you to put it on Facebook. Let us know. We can be in conversation together. And even if there is someone in your house, I invite you to put your answers in our Facebook feed as well, so that we can all be inspired by action together.
Well, I am ready to wake up. And that story opened my heart, and the question got me thinking. And now I think we're ready for Shofar. What do you guys think?
We're ready.
And now I'm not sure everyone knows what the Shofar calls are. So in case you don't know, we're going to do a little review in the form of a song. Because like Cantor Mulu, that's my favorite way to do this, is through music.
Best way to learn.
Here we go. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. We sing Tekiah. Can you repeat that? Tekiah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. The next call is Shivarim. Can you repeat that? Shivarim. Tekiah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. The next call is Teruah. 9 calls. Shivarim, Tekiah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Now this one, the Tekiah Gedolah, you need to take a very deep breath. And I'm going to start it, and then you guys just join in. You ready? Tekiah Gedolah.
Tekiah Gedolah.
Shivarim, Tekiah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. We are now ready to hear the blessings and hear the call of the shofar.
So here we are on page 33, blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Amen.
All right, Alex, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Tekiah. Shivarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah.
Wow, thank you, Alex. That was beautiful. Happy, happy, happy New Year. We now turn to the part of our service where we remember. This is a part of every service when we gather. We remember loved ones. And I would ask you, who are you remembering in this moment? Someone maybe that you knew and loved that's no longer with you at this holiday? Or maybe it's someone you never met but you've heard stories in your own family? Or maybe you're remembering someone who is an important person. That's who I'm thinking of today. I'm actually thinking of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and we learned just last night after services that she died that evening. She was a true tzaddik, a true woman of justice. She showed that even if she was small in stature, that her impact could be enormous, and she fought indefatigably and courageously to make America a more equitable place for all of us. She was also a very proud Jew. She made sure to hang a mezuzah on the door to her courtroom and to her courtroom office, and she also had a picture in her office that gave the Deuteronomic command, tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice, justice shall we pursue. And as she died on this birthday, she reminds us that we all need to help to try to make the world a little bit better place. I invite you to just take a moment, in this moment before we say our Kaddish prayer, to think of who you are remembering in this moment. And I'd like to turn to the Friedman family to share who they are remembering right now.
Hi, Central Synagogue. I'm Melissa Friedman.
And I'm Jesse, and these are our sons, Eli and Zach.
Hi!
During these difficult times, we feel especially fortunate to be part of such a wonderful community like Central and find meaningful ways to stay connected during what are very difficult times.
This year, we are remembering my mom, Linda, who passed away last November. She didn't live close by, but we spoke almost daily, and she always loved hearing about everything we were doing, especially about her grandkids. What did you guys love about Grammy?
I loved her giving me Hestra.
What do you miss?
I loved visiting her.
I think many of us have been looking for silver linings over the last several months, and one of the things that we have found is that we feel particularly fortunate that when she passed, she was able to be surrounded by her family, and I don't think we fully appreciated what a blessing that truly was until now.
We hope you're all staying healthy and happy, and we wish you all L'Shana Tova.
L'Shana Tova.
Thank you, Friedmans. That was beautiful. We rise now, if you are able, and join in this prayer of memory on page 41 together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach cherutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chaye echon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela u'le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen.
Thank you all for joining us for this beautiful Rosh Hashanah. I want to thank particularly all the people who helped and joined in this service today and made it so particularly beautiful. And if you want to continue your Rosh Hashanah celebration, I invite you to go with your family and do the ceremony of tashlich. You can go to any body of water, take your crumbs and throw your sins in. We have a do-it-yourself tashlich guide right on our website that you don't need much.
For families
and there is one especially for families. So we encourage you to do that. We will have second day Rosh Hashanah services here tomorrow morning at 10:30. We hope you'll join us for this. And of course, we look forward to seeing you for Yom Kippur as well.
But you don't want to sign off until you see our special surprise video at the end of this service.
Oh yes, you must see the special surprise video. It is animated and amazing, and you'll be singing the song for a long time after, I promise. And you also have to stick around, because right after the closing song, we have a special video that we encourage you to get up and dance and bring in the new year afterward. We're going to close together with L'Shana Tova, a Happy New Year, and then join in for the special music video with Shira and friends and special guest, Rabbi Lorge.
L'Shana Tova Tikatenu, L'Shana Tova Tikatenu, L'Shana Tova, L'Shana Tova, L'Shana Tova, Tikatenu V'Techatenu.
Shana Tova, everyone.
Shana Tova.
Have a wonderful holiday.
I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Tekiah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Shivarim. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Teruah. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast.